Hi, my name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and welcome to Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. Today we are going to be talking about mindfulness, its impact on multiple mental health issues, and just some facts about it. So stay tuned. So mindfulness was, created through ancient practices and Buddhism and meditation. It was basically used to kind of help folks stay in the present, in the here and now, to focus your attention completely on what is currently going on in your environment, and to kind of not attach yourself to your emotions and your thoughts. Mindfulness basically says that your emotions and your thoughts tend to be based off of things that you either experienced in the past or worries about the future. So if you consider things that trigger you, usually when you're triggered, it's by something that reminded you of something that somebody did in the past. Like my supervisor yelling at me sounds like when my dad used to yell at me. Or the side eye that coworker gave me reminded me of the side eye I used to get when I would get bullied at school. So then you start to ascribe onto this present situation the same characteristics of the people that hurt you or bothered you in the past, or the same situations or environments that hurt you or bothered you in the past. Or you worry about your future, where you start to consider, oh, what if I don't pass this test? What if I don't, win this award? What if I don't get an A on this essay or something like that? So what mindfulness says basically is the past no longer exists, so it is not real. The future is a concept, so it is also not real. So, since neither of those things are real anymore, the only thing that is real is the present. And focusing all of your attention and intentions on the present. The more you stay focused on the present, the less negativity can intrude into your mind, into your body, into your soul, into your heart. So that's kind of where mindfulness came from. It's used in meditation practices even today. There's guided meditations on YouTube and things like that. So how does mindfulness help with depression, anxiety, symptoms of trauma even? Well, let's talk about that. So how can mindfulness help with depression, anxiety, symptoms of trauma, and things like that? Well, with all of those mental health issues, the one thing that is very prominent are intrusive thoughts and intrusive feelings that kind of increase the negative impacts of these mental health issues. So our depression increases the more negative we are, the more negative thoughts and the more negative memories we allow in to our minds to influence how we feel about ourselves, our environment, and what's going on around us. Symptoms of PTSD will intrude with symptoms of PTSD will increase based off of the intrusive memories that we're having, the intrusive thoughts, the feelings of guilt and possible self-blame that we often have because of whatever we went through that caused the PTSD. Anxiety is the same. Anxiety keeps you on edge all the time, and you're having all these negative thoughts and scenarios about what could and should and would and might happen and things like that. So having these mental health issues, one common symptom among all of them is our thinking. How mindfulness helps with that is it's actually been shown, because in depression, our neural networks are loosened. So the neural connections that, send hormones and signals throughout our brain and things like that. I actually have something. Hold on a second. It might help. I have something that might help. This is our brain. These are neurons and neural connectors and things like that. So basically, this is probably the wrong direction. But basically, they get loosened, they get weak when we're depressed. Mindfulness, because of the repetitiveness of it, helps them connect more strongly. There you go. So mindfulness, because of the repetitive of it, actually will help heal those broken connections that have loosened because of depression, because of PTSD, because of, because of life. So with mindfulness, you are basically saying, it's a literal thing. So with mindfulness, you're basically saying, every moment of every day, my goal is to be present. Okay? So since my goal is to be present, I'm going to use the things around me to help me maintain my presentness. If that has to be the way the ground feels underneath my feet and hyper focusing on that. If that has to be looking at the details on this phone case and counting all the pretty jewels on it and being that hyper focused to help pull me out of my mind. So mindfulness basically is you're not ignoring your negative thoughts. What you're doing actually is you're allowing those emotions, because those emotions are present. They're here right now. You're allowing those emotions, but you're not participating in them. You get it? So instead of that thought that comes in that says, I'm ugly today, and then you spiral to the next thought, I knew I was ugly. These pants, they don't fit. This shirt is too big. My hair is too poof. And you just spiral into even more bad feelings and depression and anxiety. Instead of doing that, you click it off at the first thought. Okay, I see you ugly. Okay, I'm going to refocus back on counting these fibers of carpet on the floor, or finding my favorite color in the room. And this is all part of the practice of it. You don't have to be sitting and doing a meditation to be mindful. The goal is that you are changing the way that you cope with conflicts, changing the way that you deal with the world, even having happy moments. Even having happy moments, like going to Disneyland, being fully present while you're there, not ruminating off into thought land and having these random imaginations about how that guy didn't call you back the other night and he's such an a-hole, and and you're just totally not present in this situation where you're about to go on Peter Pan's Wonderful Ride. That's like my favorite ride at Disneyland. Is Peter Pan's Magic Ride, because it's just so pretty. You get into this boat and then you're floating above London, however you say it, and you're floating above London, and then you go into, what is it, the Lost World, the never ending, whatever the place is that he goes into with all the little kids and stuff. Yes, it's a tangent, whatever, I'm leaving it. This is me, I'm real. So basically, you see how easy it is just to go off into nothing. And that's what mindfulness is snap out of it, snap back. It's okay that I feel like going off into a tangent, but I'm not going to dive into it. I'm just going to notice it, like, hey there, tangent pool that I'm walking by, keep walking. It's kind of like suffering through stuff, but not really suffering through it, because you acknowledge that it hurts. Like going to the dentist and you're like, this is gonna hurt. So ahead of time, I'm gonna do my deep breathing. During, I'm going to put on some music and mindfully focus on listening. Like, what's that tone that I hear? What's that beat that I hear? What's that new lyric? I didn't know what that meant before, now I do. So you're mindfully listening to the music while you're suffering through the dental appointment, and it takes practice, because this is going to hurt. You're acknowledging that the dental appointment might hurt. I don't know, sometimes it doesn't. The only thing that hurts for me is when they put the needle in, and then when everything's numb, it just feels like pressure. So the needle part, mindfully going through that, like, this is going to hurt, but I'm going to get through it and it's going to be okay. And that's how you have to be about your emotions. This is going to hurt. I'm not going to judge myself. I'm not going to be ashamed of myself. I'm just going to deal with these emotions and enjoy my time as much as possible. And that also means, so another part of mindfulness, not just letting those thoughts go by while you refocus on whatever you're focusing on in your present environment, but also another part of mindfulness is acknowledging your emotions that you're having in the present. So how am I feeling right now? I'm trying to actually think how I feel right now. But let's say I feel angry right now. What made me angry? Let's use the example from earlier. My boss yelling at me. What do I need right now? well, I need to stay calm because I don't want to get fired. If I yell back at my supervisor, this might be a problem. But after we're done with this conversation, I'm going to go sit in my car and take some deep breaths. Maybe even scream if I'm parked far away enough from people, or maybe wait till I get home and scream. But then you pull out your coping skills. You pull out your coping skills and you let all that feeling out. You don't just keep it locked in and keep ignoring it or walking by it and acting like, oh, well, I'm going to suffer through and be okay with this. No, eventually you have to acknowledge those emotions that were presently there too, or they will still build up, but just not as quickly as it would be to completely ignore it and then get ashamed of it and things like that. So, mindfulness, staying present, staying focused in your environment. How does the doorknob feel against your hand in the morning? I read a mindfulness thing that said that. Like, when you get up, be present, be mindful. How does the toothpaste feel against your teeth? How does the toothbrush feel in your hand? Things like that. So, you have to put all your intentions on your present. That's basically it. A lot of people explain it in weird ways, but it's literal. That's how I explain it. It's a literal thing. You're present and focused in your current environment, and you're not attaching your emotions to your thoughts. And then the second half is when your emotions become too overwhelming, then you address them. You ask yourself what's triggering you and what you need right now. And if that means leaving a situation, taking a break, going to the spa and having a spa day, that's when you pull in all your other coping skills, because we still need all those other coping skills to take care of us and make us feel whole again when, we're out of the situation where we had to be super mindful because there was conflict here. So yeah, that's what mindfulness is. And I'm going to put below just some information about mindfulness, some mindfulness meditation. Oh, let me talk about the meditations real quick. So the meditations, people do them on YouTube, the guided meditations, and they're very helpful, and it's a good way to start off with mindfulness. It's good to practice a meditation at least once a day. Start off small. They have 5-minute mindfulness guided meditations. Make sure you put in mindfulness guided meditations. So they have a few on YouTube, thousands. I don't know. I've seen a lot of them. And then they have apps like the Calm app and things like that. So yeah, it's good to do at least once a day and go up to at least 30 minutes a day. That's the goal. But start off small. Like, there's 2-minute ones, I think, too. And also remember that the meditations are just homework. I like to tell people that being mindful is a whole life thing. It's rechanging how you see the world. So the world isn't based off of your issues and stuff from the past anymore. It's based off of you being present, whatever's happening presently, and reacting to it in a new way, and not seeing it as the same thing as a cycle, not seeing whatever trigger you're experiencing as the same kind of trigger in a cycle based off of stuff you've been through in the past, but seeing it as a new thing. We treat this as a new person, and we're going to have a new experience here. So recognize that as well. There I go again with recognize. Because I have a lot of clients that will just do the meditation, don't realize that we're changing thought patterns here, and so you have to use it throughout your everyday life when you're experiencing conflict or anything else like that, and then they'll complain because they feel like the meditation isn't working, or they'll start getting ashamed and judging themselves because they weren't able to stick to the meditation and all this other stuff. The goal is to release your shame around your emotions and stay present and cope. When you feel overwhelmed, cope. Acknowledge your emotions and cope. So that's it for today. I'm actually home from work. I was like, I need to do a video. I didn't do one yesterday. I should be on time with stuff. Be more mindful. So this is me in my work clothes. We're like casual, kind of, but not too casual. It has to still be professional because we go to schools and see kids, and so we want to like be kind of on the same level of the kids. So I can't go into schools with like heels and slacks on and stuff. I have to like, look like a regular person, not intimidating, like, who's this lady coming in here to give me therapy? So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and as the great Tino from The Weekender says, later days.